Hi, I'm Bella. I'm reacting today to Matthew Hussey's video on ghosting. He is a relationship coach and he's one of the most famous ones in the world. I knew him a little bit when I worked with the company, and even then I found some of the advice he gave to be wrong or not helpful. There were also many women in the seminars that absolutely got so much value and more power to them. He was able to command a room of women beautifully with his showmanship, confident way of public speaking, and he could really work the room. It was an impressive skill, and at the time, as somebody that was attending Toastmasters events and was keen on winning them, I saw somebody who I looked up to as a speaker. However, the advice isn't always on the money. And I think it's worth having a look to see what is said. What I noticed about him is this ability to play all but the most complex and discerning minds like a harp. And even the discerning minds would start to wonder and doubt themselves if they weren't being played like a harp. So let's see what he has to say.
A guy promised he'd talk to me again, but has ghosted and disappeared for months now. How do I stop feeling defeated and move on after someone leaves me clinging onto their words like that? Look, no one can leave you clinging onto their words. Never.
Right off the bat, I'm reminded that his advice I have an allergy. I've got an aversion to his method. Some people like the direct approach and I think they might benefit from it. Are you one of them? Maybe. It's a little bit talking down, subtly demeaning. I don't like it so far.
Ever give someone else that power over you. Never give someone that responsibility.
Yeah, and this is a problem I have with advice around not only ghosting, but I think dating advice, when there is this emphasis on, there's an exaggerated sense of responsibility placed on the woman in this scenario for giving somebody power over her. Now, if she has been involved for any length of time romantically with another person, and that person out of nowhere just disappears, that is wrong, awful, terrible behavior, is bound to cause some kind of nervous system dysregulation. So I see what he's doing. Never ever give somebody this power over you. Perhaps he's trying to empower her to get into this mental state of, I have the power to not give someone that power. It's alluring, it's appealing. I would love to have the power that if somebody bothers me, if someone upsets me, to just go, oh, flip a switch, it doesn't matter, water off a duck's back. But romantic relationships are a different kettle of fish. In this scenario, this is somebody the woman has been intimately connected with, and it's just placing a little bit too much, not a little bit, it's placing all the responsibility on her to just go, oh, you know what, click my fingers, it doesn't matter, you're right. How bad of me, I've given them the power. This, creating a relationship, dating, we're in a state of dynamic co-creation with someone else. It's not just, we can't just go, oh, like, you don't have that power over me. The emotional impact of somebody just ghosting you, who you've been dating. I'm not saying someone that you've dated once, like one quick date. I'm saying someone that perhaps you've been seeing that promised you, like this woman, that they're going to message you and meet again with you, and then nothing. That's equivalent to a physical wounding. What he's done to her is equivalent to if somebody went up to Matthew Hussey and hit him around the head with a baseball bat. That would hurt. I can't tell anyone who's been physically hurt to not let it hurt them, because it will hurt. It just does. So already I'm a little bit disappointed. But let's see what else he has to say.
Of giving you closure. Closure is overrated. You're sitting there.
No, it's not. Closure is really important. And I feel as with a lot of his advice, and I've not watched any of his, I don't make a habit of watching his videos. I can't really stand him for more than a couple of minutes. But it feels to me like the showmanship thing, he's got it down to a T. The problem is that because he doesn't have the answer to the question, he's belittling the questioner and belittling the question itself.
Months later, waiting for closure. No, don't ever wait for closure from anyone else. Because you may...
If I didn't have an answer and I didn't know how to help, I would be giving an answer like this, because it's like, there's a great quote from a book called What Makes Sammy Run by Bud Schulberg. And he said, in Hollywood, if you can't be smart, be loud. And if you can't be loud, be louder, or something like that. And that's essentially what he's doing. He's shouting here. And I feel like he's doing it from a place of not really knowing what to say. And the poor audience on the receiving end are feeling shouted into submission.
You may never get it. You may waste your entire life waiting for closure from someone. Why did they do that? Why would they just disappear? Why would they break my heart? Why did they do what they did, even though they said that they had completely different intentions?
I'm going to offer another thought, is that it's really important to know why. Those whys are an itch that needs to be scratched. And certain cultures, I know people from the Brazilian culture, that if they're dating a guy and he ghosts them, I'm sorry, what? That's not acceptable. They will do whatever it takes to, let's say not just dating casually, but let's say that person has made them believe that they want to be with them and they've given promises like this guy did here. They would do anything to find out what happened, what went wrong, because to them it's just simply not acceptable. And they don't mind being seen as crazy, because for them it's, I'm sorry, that's not acceptable behavior. Whereas in English culture, we are more prone to, unfortunately, fearing coming across as crazy or desperate or needy or low value so much that we actually end up not holding people accountable that need to be held accountable and letting people get away with really bad behavior.
Why did they do this instead? Never, ever wait for somebody else's closure. What you have to do is give yourself closure.
There is an empowering element of giving yourself closure. If you've tried a few times and there's no way that you can get closure from that person, then there is something empowering about, okay, how can I give myself closure? I wonder if he's going to give us these steps to give ourselves closure. Is there a method? Is there a strategy? I'm really curious.
Give yourself that closure. You know what? The only closure I need is that in this particular case, a guy promised that he'll see me again and then didn't.
I don't think it's good to lie to ourselves. The only closure I need is that a guy promised to see me again and then didn't. Because it might well be the case that works for some people, but that wouldn't be closure enough for me.
You may sit there and think, how's that closure?
He's quite shouty, isn't he?
Closure is you had it confirmed that this person is not a person of their word. You had it confirmed.
Not necessarily. And I think that's the whole thing with ghosting, is that we have only had it confirmed that they don't like us once they've gone through the process of a breakup and they've said to us, you know what, this isn't for me, I'm so sorry, goodbye. That is confirmation that they didn't like us. But simply somebody not messaging us again isn't confirmation enough, isn't closure, and it's not confirmation that they don't like us, because that's the problem. What happened? We think something happened to their family member, their dog, their job. Did they get stuck in a lift? I know somebody who, I was on my way to Paris to meet one of my best friends when I was 22, and I was on the Eurostar from London, and she was freaking out. I was on my way to meet her and her partner, who were living in an apartment in Paris, and she was on the phone to me crying because she hadn't had any messages from him. And the last message she got from him was, I'm coming home to see you soon, can't wait, XX. And for hours, nothing. And she thought, because they'd had an argument that morning, she thought, was this some sick joke? Is he ghosting me? Is he never seeing me again? And imagine if she never saw him again after that. Is that confirmation enough? Is that closure? What had actually happened was he got stuck in an elevator. And it was an elevator of their dodgy old building. And it had got completely stuck. And because it was surrounded by metal, there was no reception. So sometimes kind of freak accidents do happen, and that's part of the psychological torment of being ghosted. We don't know what's happened.
That this person's actions don't meet their words. And try being in a relationship with someone whose actions don't meet their words. It's going to make you deeply unhappy. So you should be glad, by the way, that you're not in a relationship with that person. Because
he's skipping some steps here, because she's not saying that she wants to be in a relationship with that person necessarily. She's saying, what is she asking again? I've forgotten. She asked, how do I move on after someone left me clinging to their words like that? So he's skipped a few steps and says, you should be glad that you're not in a relationship with someone like that. But that's not the point. It's like, how do I get this closure? Oh, you get closure because it's overrated. That's how. Not really. Doesn't work for me. It's a bit too cheap for me.
you know what's worse than someone not keeping to their word and you lost them? Someone not keeping to their word and you still have them. Someone you're still in a relationship with who continuously breaks their promises, who
I might have to end it soon. This is giving me a headache.
Continuously doesn't show up. That's worse. This person gave you a gift. This person showed you they weren't who they said they were, or that their intentions weren't what they stated.
I see what he's doing. He's reframing this situation as a gift. And that's a technique that life coaches do to make the person skip off happy, feeling that they got some value for money. They got a little bit of bang for their buck. In this scenario, no, there's no gift. She's still, what will happen probably is, now that he's shouted her into submission, made her wooden, and he's tried to make her believe that closure is overrated. So then she'll start to feel bad if she feels like it's underrated, because he's the authority figure here. So I think it will just cause a bit of a screwy head for a few days, because she'll skip off thinking, oh yeah, okay. But then the itch will start itching again.
And has now,
and that's my problem with this advice,
given you the gift of moving on and meeting somebody else. But you can only give yourself that gift at the end of the day, because if you're sitting there waiting for closure or clinging on to something someone said, going, but what happened? The reality didn't match what they said. Then that's the reality. That this person doesn't mean what they say. And that you're lucky to have them out of your life. Anytime for anyone out there, anytime someone ghosts you, anytime someone doesn't show up for you, that is a form of closure. People are...
I just think there's something that's missing. I wonder if he gives useful takeaway advice.
Always showing you who they are. Maya Angelou said, when someone tells you who they are...
This is giving me a headache. I'm going to have to stop it there. You know what? I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to see if he gets to the meat and potatoes. How much longer is this? Okay, let's see if he does give any advice. So let's skip forward a little bit.
Actions you should pay attention to. I'll repeat this because I'm about to flip it. So watch this. You're going to remember this for the rest of your life. It's really fascinating.
The rest of our lives, okay.
If someone is telling you, I love you, I want you, this, that, blah, 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 but they're not actually investing in you, watch their actions, not their words, because their actions matter more.
Okay, this is okay. The headache's getting a little bit worse. This video's gone off topic. I'm curious to know if he has an answer for this lady who she's asked, how do I move on and get closure after someone's left me clinging on to their words? So far, he's gone off topic a bit. There is a bit more time. I'm going to skip ahead to see if he gives advice. So this next section is called pharmaceutical ads. Are we on the same video? Yeah. Okay.
Now, the pharmaceutical ads here are hilarious. You watch 3 minutes of
Okay, that's
relationship when that part wasn't helping him in that moment. It didn't, not to say you can consider it as truth. If someone tells you what you want to hear, that's when you have to watch their actions to see if their actions actually back them up. Before you go, did you know that I have a members club?
Is that the end? Okay, so therein lies really the problem. If you watch videos by relationship experts and you're left feeling a little bit cold, there is likely a reason, and it's perhaps the advice is a little bit shallow. That's it from me for now. Thank you for watching. This has been Bella, and I'll see you soon.